How could you convince me that Christianity is real? What's your response, or what would you tell them?
Well, the first question is there a God? Does God exist? And I think the evidence of the fact that the universe has a beginning, everything that has a beginning has a cause, the universe has a beginning, therefore the universe has to have a cause, is pointing us to the most reasonable answer, which is in the beginning God, not in the beginning hydrogen. Second piece of evidence for God's existence is moral absolutes. The moral relativist cannot live out moral relativism. Because the moral relativist regularly says you should not have done that. You ought not to do that. So it's impossible, practically speaking, to live out moral relativism because we all embrace moral absolutes of some type. Well, in order for there to be a moral absolute, there has to be an intelligent mind behind the universe. Because if there is no God, then it's human minds that define right and wrong, and it's all relative. And if there are objective morals, then there's got to be some type of intelligent mind, a lawgiver behind the universe. Third piece of evidence for the existence of God is the only thing that comes from nothing is nothing. You never get something coming from nothing. And we obviously have quite a bit right here, right now, a lot of somethings. And to think that something comes from nothing is preposterous. It's illogical. Next piece of evidence that God exists would be love. I'm convinced that the most important thing in all of our lives is love, the relationships that we have. Well, if there is no God, love is simply a biochemical reaction. And I'm convinced that love is a free choice that we all make. That's my experience. That's my observation. And so therefore, based on our experience and our observation of life, I think it's more plausible, more reasonable to believe that God exists. Then the next question is, who is this God? What's this God like? And that's where different people claim to be revealing God accurately. But they contradict each other. So the question is, who is reliable? Who is supported by the evidence that they are reliable? And when it comes to Jesus Christ, the evidence is found in the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So the obvious first question is, well, can I trust those Gospels to give me accurate historical information about Jesus? And the evidence of the manuscripts, the evidence of the date of the manuscripts being so close to the events recorded, the number of manuscripts that we have, the literary style that's used by those manuscripts, historical narrative, not once upon a time in the land of Oz, Wink and Blink and an Odd took a boat ride. That's fairy tale. No, the literary style is clearly historical narrative. So that evidence points to the historicity of Jesus, that he really lived, taught, died, and rose from the dead. And obviously, if Jesus rose from the dead, the evidence is he's reliable. You died and rose from the dead, Ellie, I would listen very carefully to everything you had to say. And so then the question is, all right, if the evidence is that Jesus is reliable, then what does it mean to respond to it in faith? And faith is not blind intellectual naivete. Faith is evidence plus commitment. So the evidence is Christ is reliable, and therefore faith in him is a commitment to him. So those are some of the lines of thinking.